Good afternoon, Trailblazer fans. Welcome back inside the TV studio. My name is Jeff Polari, Assistant Athletic Director, here today with Head Softball Coach Jamie Trudeau. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing good.
On the verge of the MCLA Softball season and a great campaign a year ago, winning the first MASCAC championship since '95, NCAA tournament appearance. How are things going so far in the preseason?
Things are going good. A lot of hard work we're going in. We know after last year, coming into last year, I got here in January, so we kind of put the building blocks then, and we kind of picked up right where we left off, which is nice to see. A lot of those things we're heading right back into it.
Yeah, and like you just said, you started last year in January, kind of came in, and I'm sure it was kind of a whirlwind. You've had a little bit of time this year to at least catch your breath. What are some of the changes going forward that you've been able to implement with your program as preparation for 2016?
Well, a lot of our returners have already had a year under me, so the transition last year they wound up and we changed a lot of the structures. This year we came in with that structure right away with the fundamentals and the drills, so a lot of things we don't necessarily have to go in depth in explaining on how we do, because our girls this year are picking it up right away, and with the incoming newbies on the team, they've been able to acclimate with such a large senior class leading the way.
Yeah. And hot off the press, the MASCAC Preseason Poll is out, and MCLA is atop of that poll, tied with Worcester State, who you defeated last year in the conference championship round. Talk a little bit about what that poll means, how you can use that as motivation going forward, and some expectations for your women.
Well, I mean, being picked at the top of that poll, especially with Worcester. Worcester's a great team as well. It definitely shows that the conference gives us a lot of credit. They respect us. The biggest thing for us is we can't really be focused on a number. Each day our job is to get better and better with each game and win one game at a time. If we go in with expectations, we kind of lose our way. So a big part of our program was, one game at a time, and that's what our focus is. And at the end of the day, if we're playing the best softball that we can be, playing at that point, we'll wind up right where we should.
Yeah. We're somewhat on the verge of the season opener, about 10 days away, down in Claremont at the National Training Center. What are your expectations of that trip?
Well, I think it's going to be a good opportunity to get out and see some players, especially getting some of the newer players on the field. Biggest thing for us is to, see where we are. And we have a very tough competition. Last year was tough. This year's going to be just as tough. And it's nice to get up against those teams to see where we stand and what we need to work on.
You have a couple of seniors. I'm going to start with Michaela DiNicola, one of the top returning players. What do you expect her role to be this year in her senior campaign?
Mick's going to be a very versatile player for us. I expect her to produce at the plate. She did a very good job last year. The best thing about Mick is she always stays composed. She never gets down on herself. She's a great team player overall.
And off the mound, we return Rachel Quackenbush, who has been one of the top players in the conference her first 3 seasons here. Team MVP, MASCAC tournament MVP, set all kinds of school records. What are the expectations of her as a senior?
With Rachel, I think Rachel's going to come in and do a good job. She did a lot of work in the off season. I think you're going to see a different look from Rachel this year. She developed a new pitch that we'd like to add into her arsenal of pitches. So I think she's going to demonstrate a lot of confidence on the mound. She's a team captain. She also will be consistent at the plate for us.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about your schedule, the 2016 schedule. The mild winter has us with some high hopes that we'll be able to get on the fields early this spring, play the schedule as it's lined up. Just chat a little bit about that 40-game schedule and what some of the challenges may be throughout the course of the season.
Well, kind of like you said, we do have warmer weather this year, which we don't necessarily always have in the Northeast. So one of our biggest, issues is we're going to get out of Florida, come back, and we've got that week of practice, fine-tuning things, and when we get into schedule, we have a tough conference schedule ahead of us. We start right off with Salem State, which we faced in the championship game last year. And then as we go, we've got a lot of games in a very short period of time. If you're from Virginia, you can tend to spread it out within February and March, but in the Northeast, we plan ahead, and who could have thought it'd be 65 degrees this coming Monday.
Yeah. And if you had to pick one thing that you would envision as being your biggest challenge with the conference schedule, what do you think it would be at this point?
I think it's remaining consistent. Last year we would have a couple splits. We'd play really good one game. The next game we would have a little bit of a letdown. So this year is really staying consistent for all of those games and knowing that we need to be a 2-game-a-day playing team.
Yeah. And there you have it, fans. The softball program begins defense of its MASCAC championship a week from Saturday down in Clermont, Florida with a 10-game slate, and then they return back north for the remainder of their schedule. Coach, I wish you the best of luck this season, and to all the Trailblazers and fans, stay in the know with everything MCLA Athletics on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, or log on to athletics.mcla.edu. Thank you and have a great afternoon.